Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on this upcoming DC Universe reboot, the DC Studios Universe reboot, whichever thing you want to call it. So we are just into the month of September. I'm recording this on the 2nd of September Australian time, so no idea when it's going to go up, but you know, of course, this means we are moving closer to, I guess, really anything because it's us moving forward in time. But I guess for the sake of this video, it brings us closer to the commencement of James Gunn's reboot of this DC world, whether that be through Creature Commandos for you in December of this year, or for Superman in the middle of next year. Now, of course, as we get closer to 2025, we should expect more developments about some projects outside of Superman, Creature Commandos, and the currently filming Peacemaker Season 2, but until then, there are some unverified claims / rumours that are coming out of the DCU leaks Reddit page from a few people. Now, these, unverified claims / rumours are essentially things that are claimed by somewhat reliable people, but are not proved or denied. So they are floating in the neutral area for the moment, but they aren't just from some asshat who is trolling and going, oh, by the way, Batman's going to be played by, I don't know, and I'm just trying to think of like Jackie Chan or something like that. Of course, they're not trolling. So of course, it's fairly interesting to go over them and see what is being said and what maybe could be coming our way, whether that is with new stuff or already existing things like Superman, for example. But some of the projects that these claims are attached to have to do with already announced projects and some that also haven't been announced at all or even really overly teased to. But we will just go through them and just give some opinions and thoughts about them where relevant. But of course, throughout the video, be sure to let me know your opinions in the comment section down below. What are these things, which of these things catches your eye? Which one are you like, not the biggest fan of that? And do you have any just further theories and stuff that could go along with them? Let me know in the comments. And of course, if you're going to enjoy the video, drop a like, takes 2 seconds. So the first thing that's being said here is that apparently James Gunn is cautious, that's probably the key word here, cautious, about revealing information about the future of the universe, as in the DC Studios universe, given what happened in previous administrations. Now, to me, this it seems like a fairly obvious one, not just for James Gunn himself, but Warner Brothers as a whole, and I think even just a lot of studios as a whole in regards to not getting too ahead of yourselves. Even the MCU has started to not really announce too many projects ahead of time, just stuff that, they know that's probably going to come out, or they're fairly confident will come out, because they themselves have also announced stuff that hasn't happened. But in regards to specifically DC, I think we all remember the slate they released, and I think only just over half of the movies came out or even got into development and stuff like that, and they also got delayed. Those movies were all meant to come out by 2019 or something, and then The Flash, for example, didn't come out till 2023. So you don't want to get too ahead of yourself. So I can understand that. But James Gunn has also stated that he's not going to really push something too much or rush into development unless the script's ready. So there is a high chance as well that he could announce something. Let's just say, I don't know, I'm trying to think of one of the movies, well, because Swamp Thing has a director, but they could announce a movie, they get a director attached to it, even get a writer attached, but they can't come up with the right idea, so it just sort of fades away. And that could happen. I'm sure there'll probably be at least one movie that or even TV show that James Gunn announces that doesn't happen. It's just the nature of things. There's probably going to be at least one, but you don't want to announce 10 and 6 of them don't come out. The next thing is more within Warner Brothers itself, but Superman is internally considered the big film of 2025. I don't know if this is actually specifically for Warner Brothers or just moviegoers as a whole. I don't know. But anyway, the expectations are that the film will have a great performance, especially among the public, as the main aim of this new universe is to please the fans. Don't expect any other members of the Trinity, aka Batman or Wonder Woman, to to appear in the movie. And I think for Warner Brothers, this is the big movie of 2025. The issue is that next year has a bunch of movies. Even the movies in the month that Superman is coming out, there's the whole debate going on because the new Jurassic World movie is coming out at the beginning of July. Fantastic Four is coming out towards the end, and Superman is smack bang in the middle of those two. And a lot of people think Superman's the movie out of those three that won't perform the best. Now, the movie that I think at least will make $1 billion easily out of those movies is probably Jurassic World, because those two previous ones were arse, and I think they both made $1 billion. I know the most recent one made $1 billion. I'm pretty sure the one before that made $1 billion, and the first one made $1 billion. So when you have a franchise that's hitting $1 billion every single time, you expect the new one to get around that point as well. So yeah, I think this is probably just for Warner Brothers as a whole in regards to it being the big film. And I think it is, because I can't think of anything that would trump it in regards to another Warner Brothers movie off the top of my head. I don't think there is one at the very least. The next rumor slash claim here is that Timothy Chalamet is set for a starring role in a DCU project because he is one of the faces of Warner Brothers today. Possible roles are Deadman, which is going to be an animated series, or Nightwing. However, there is a possibility that he is the villain of Swamp Thing. In regards to who the villain could be, I don't know, not going to bother theorizing about that at this point in time. I think this is once again like one of those easy ones because Timothy Chalamet is going to be heavily connected to Warner Brothers. Doesn't mean like every single one of his movies will be in Warner Brothers, just because that can be sort of hard unless he's like gets paid a lot for each single time he appears in one of them, so he doesn't really have to do anything else. But yeah, so it wouldn't be too surprising if that's the case. It's the same with like directors and writers that have deals with Warner Brothers. They're going to be linked to the DCU because it's the big franchise, so it just makes sense. Next up, Wonder Woman will be cast starting, and this is the one that sounds a bit sus because I'm like, does this person have a crystal ball? Like how could this be so specific? But they say Wonder Woman will be cast starting in the North American fall, so around, I guess, around this time, 2 years from now in 2026. The priority at the moment is with Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. This one sounds like a lot of ask just because it's so specific. What do you mean? Like, does James Gunn have a thing on his date? Don't cast Wonder Woman until fall of 2026? Like, what do you mean? Unless this means the movie starts filming in fall of 2026, but it sounds like, I don't know, it sounds like the casting process. I don't know, it's a bit confusing. But even then, like, they got to get that prequel show out. I think James Gunn even said that, like, that prequel show leads into Wonder Woman. There's been like no development on that since it was announced, but there is something on that in this rumors thing a bit later. But that one just seems a bit too sus because it's way too specific. Next up, this has to do with Batman. So Brave and the Bold, or Batman Brave and the Bold, will have Talia al Ghul and Ra's al Ghul, as well as other villains who will play the role of henchmen. Claudia Dumet, now free from The Boys. Of course, she played, what was her name? Victoria Newman on The Boys. Spoiler, she dies in the most recent season, but this sort of gives it away. But yes, now she's free from The Boys, is the favourite, despite the fact that all roles will be auditioned. Now, I think this is in reference to her playing Talia al Ghul. She's an Australian actress, but she's like Lebanese. She's like Lebanese Australian. So probably fitted, but once again, it's like, I think this is one of those internet rumors. I think someone just gone, well, I'll attach it, and then people are like, oh, I like the casting idea, so people will really like latch onto it. But I had no issue she was cast in the role, but once again, it's a bit specific. Next up, with the commercial success of Dune 2, Elvis, and other productions, Warner Brothers is looking to bring a large part of the new generation of actors and actresses to the DCU. David Corenswet, Rachel Brosnahan, Nicholas Hoult, Millie Alcock, Isabella Merced, and Timothy Chalamet are just the beginning. And the thing is that outside of Timothy Chalamet, all those other actors, and this isn't meant to be like offensive, but they'd be very cheap to get. Like there's low risk with getting them because they're not going to ask for, oh, I want $1 bajillion just to star in this first movie. They're not going to be getting paid peanuts, but they're not going to get anywhere near like what if they got like a big star to be. So like Timothy Chalamet's the only one, but once again, if he's connected to Warner Brothers already, it probably goes under some sort of contract that he might have there and stuff like that, or it might take less to be in it because it leads to better opportunities within that studio. But the only one I'd really consider there is like this new generation is probably Millie Alcock and maybe Isabella Merced. But then again, Isabella Merced isn't playing a main character, like a major character from what we know. Like we don't know what Hawkgirl's presence is within this universe. Like it probably depends on Superman, whether people connect to the character. But we already know Supergirl's going to have a big role because one, getting her own solo movie. It's going to be the second solo movie within the DCU. And, you know, Gunn's pretty much said she's going to be a large part of the universe. So the only other one that's like, yeah, so it's Millie Alcock, Isabella Merced, and Timothy Chalamet. And Timothy Chalamet is the only like lock at the moment. So not too sure about that one. The next thing is that James Gunn, despite enjoying San Diego Comic-Con, believes that until the second year of the universe's existence, there is no good exposure. Now, I'm not necessarily sure exactly what this means in regards to where, you know, whether this lies on a positive or negative thing. I mean, your good exposure is if your movie's good. Like, that's the big thing. If you make the good movies and the good TV shows, that's the good exposure. If you make crap ones, you can go to SDCC all you like, but you need the good material, if that makes sense. The second last thing here is Wonder Woman History. The Amazons will be one of the main comics that will inspire Paradise Lost. Now, this isn't anything because this was also attached to the official DC reading list for this upcoming DCU. I think I did a video on it going over like, I don't know, yeah, like I mentioned it, I think in a video at the very least, that like DC released like things that were inspiring the upcoming, whether it was movies or movies or TV shows, might I say. And for Paradise Lost, it was this thing, Wonder Woman History, the Amazons. And I think James Gunn himself has said this is it. So this isn't really like it's not even a rumor, it's a fact, I'm pretty sure, because James Gunn himself has said it. Now, as I said before, in talking about the Wonder Woman thing, we really had no progress with this show. This show's the most like random, if that makes sense, because it's set before. It's like a prequel on Themyscira, I guess before Diana's even created. So, and like it's meant to be like very Game of Thrones-esque. So this is the one that's, I don't think this is risky. I think this just allows a lot more creativity, but also sandboxes you a bit because you can't really do too much with it because you got to let things just happen in the present day where we are, where like Superman, for example, is and stuff like that. So intrigued to see what this show's like. I'm assuming it'll be a mini series. I don't think they'd do multiple seasons of it, but we also don't know what it sets up and everything like that. We don't even know if Diana exists in this show. She might be a little girl in the show, but not the main character. So that's a wait and see. And the final thing is that these 3 projects are apparently being developed for the DCU or for DC Studios. The first one is something that excites me. Green Arrow and Black Canary, described as a romantic comedy and action series, which I don't know if you'd say necessarily a rom-com. I don't think it would be played out like a rom-com. I think that's probably not the best idea. Like, it'd have aspects of it, but for it to be, it's like a genre of the show, I don't think that's right. But action series, I mean, you'd expect it, of course. It probably depends how you handle it, of course. I don't know. I think I prefer that if that's a movie. And the main thing is that because we had Arrow as a show. I think anything that was really a show, don't do it. And the same thing, like maybe if you wanted to explore something that maybe had a movie didn't work, like Green Lantern, for example, but that needs time. So that's why Lanterns as a show works, because you can set up the lore and everything of the Green Lantern core. But with Green Arrow and the Black Canary, I think you'd probably just want a movie. I think, unless the whole thing is to really set up their dynamic and characters and their relationship. But if they already start as a couple, then you may as well just do a movie, if that makes sense. But I don't know, maybe that's just me. I think I'd prefer a movie rather than a show, just because we had Arrow for so long. The next thing is Jonah Hex, an HBO series described very much in the style of Yellowstone, but with science fiction. Of course, Jonah Hex was a movie starring Josh Brolin, Megan Fox back in the day. Some of you might not have even known that. Trust me, type in Jonah Hex movie trailer. Not a very good movie. That was in like the weird days of DC. Like, this was before the DCU. This is probably like, I don't know if it came out, I think it might have come out just before Green Lantern. I think it might have came out like when the Dark Knight was still going on, I think, roughly. But yeah, anyway, crap movie. As an HBO series, it sounds pretty interesting. Some people might think of it very much like in the Westworld thing, but it would actually be set in the Wild West. But yeah, it'd be very interesting to see how that would be handled, I guess. And the final thing is, they're saying that Strange Adventures could be here as an animated series. Now, Strange Adventures was in development for the DCEU previously, alongside that Green Lantern HBO Max show before Lanterns came in. And that was going to be an anthology show. It sounded like it was going to be really cool. So I don't know if they'd take the idea necessarily what that show was going to be, where it was anthology, like where each episode was different, but it probably had like an overarching story. Or they just do their own thing as an animated series with Adam Strange. I don't know what they're going to do there, if this is a thing. I think an animated series probably works, because I think one of the concerns with that show when it was being developed for HBO Max like 3 or 4 years ago, whatever it was, is that it was going to be expensive. That was the same thing with the Green Lantern HBO Max show as well, but it had the Green Lantern thing connected to it, so it was a bit of an easier draw for people to get into and probably excuse the budget. But Strange Adventures was already going to be niche. So maybe making it animated makes just a bit cheaper to make and a bit less risky. But I wouldn't mind seeing that. I wouldn't mind seeing all those 3 things, though I wouldn't mind Green Arrow and Black Canary, being a movie rather than a show. But just depends how, I guess, it's structured in regards to where they are as individuals as well as a couple. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, be awesome if you drop a like on it, show support. Let me know in the comment section down below your various thoughts and everything we went over. Always curious to read what you guys are thinking. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, and I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.